U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground tests CROWS integration into M109A7 Paladin. The U.S. Army is testing CROWS on the M109A7 Paladin and M992A3 ammunition carrier. The service reported on June 24, 2026, to improve artillery protection against drones and close-range threats. The system could let crews detect and engage threats from inside the vehicle during movement, firing, and resupply. CROWS adds a compact remote weapon station with improved sensors and a tougher design for the Paladin's harsh firing environment. If validated, it could strengthen artillery survivability and support the Army's shift toward closed-hatch, sensor-enabled combat. On June 24, 2026, the U.S. Army reported that U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground is conducting developmental testing of a low-profile common remotely operated weapon station for integration on the M109A7 Paladin self-propelled howitzer and the M992A3 carrier ammunition tracked vehicle. The test effort reflects a growing requirement to protect artillery crews from threats that increasingly target vehicles during movement, firing, and resupply operations. By evaluating closed-hatch control of a small-caliber weapon and a potential counter-small unmanned aircraft system capability, the U.S. Army is examining how its artillery platforms can remain survivable in a battlefield shaped by drones, indirect fire, and close-range threats. EZOIC. The Common Remotely Operated Weapon Station, or CROWS, has become a major crew protection system because it allows soldiers to operate mounted weapons from inside an armored vehicle rather than from an exposed turret position. According to U.S. Army, the system shields gunners from small arms fire and improvised explosive device blasts while providing a gyrostabilized mount and an integrated fire control system intended to improve targeting precision and increase the probability of a first burst hit, including when the host vehicle is moving. At Yuma Proving Ground, the Army is now testing a low-profile version, known as CROWS, on the M109A7 Paladin and the M992A3 ammunition carrier, two tracked platforms central to Paladin artillery operations. The trials are examining both the new configuration and its interaction with the artillery platform. Rafael Ortiz, YPG test officer, said the test team is evaluating enhanced technologies, including improved cameras, as well as the effects of weapon loading and firing while the system is integrated on the vehicle. The effort moved from concept to developmental testing on Yuma's ranges in just over a year, a timeline driven by changes observed in modern combat. U.S. Army reported that the installation package was developed as an internal Department of War effort rather than through a traditional original equipment manufacturer approach, with the project moving from initial concept to a production representative design through cooperation between PMHS and the U.S. Army DevCom community. The M109A7 Paladin creates a demanding environment for any added weapon station. Earlier versions of CROWS were not considered feasible for the platform because of profile, transportation, and survivability issues linked to the howitzer's operating conditions. The Paladin is armed with a 155mm main gun capable of firing up to 4 rounds per minute, and components fitted to the vehicle must withstand recoil, vibration, and repeated blast overpressure from the main armament. Martin Velasquez, YPG team lead, explained that the older CROWS had a larger profile, did not meet transportation requirements when installed on the Paladin, and could be damaged by repeated firing of the howitzer. The updated CROWS has a smaller profile and has been modified to be more robust, allowing the Army to assess whether it can survive the Paladin's operational environment. Soldiers from the 4th Battalion, 1st Field Artillery Regiment at Fort Bliss, Texas, and personnel from the Transformation Integration Directorate at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, took part in several weeks of testing at YPG. Their work included realistic scenarios based on operational concepts, with soldiers scanning and engaging targets while providing direct feedback on the system. This is a notable change for Paladin crews because, as Velasquez stated, the previous system was a manual gun, while the CROWS test marks the first time soldiers have been able to control the small-caliber weapon from inside the vehicle. Follow-on testing is also planned, including durability miles, which will be needed to determine how the installation performs under extended driving, firing, and field conditions. One of the most important features under evaluation is the potential addition of counter-small unmanned aircraft system capability to the Paladin through the CROWS architecture. Connie English, project lead for U.S. Army Capability Program Executive Offensive Fires, said the Army is working with PM crew-served weapons and other program offices to add radar to CROWS for unmanned aerial system detection. If validated, this configuration could provide both detection and defeat capability under closed-hatch operations, giving artillery crews a way to respond to small drone threats without exposing personnel outside the vehicle. The work also aligns with Yuma Test Center's role as the primary dedicated interagency CSUS test and training range following the establishment of Joint Interagency Task Force 401 by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth last August. The CROWS testing at Yuma Proving Ground shows how the U.S. Army is adapting artillery platforms to a battlefield where survivability depends not only on armor and mobility, but also on the ability to detect and engage nearby threats while crews remain protected. For the M109A7 Paladin, the integration effort could transform a defensive weapon position from an exposed manual station into a closed-hatch, sensor-linked capability suited to modern combat conditions. If follow-on durability and operational testing confirm the system's reliability, CROWS could become an important step in strengthening artillery crew protection against small drones, close-range attacks, and the expanding threat environment facing self-propelled artillery units.